Imagine this. You've spent your life chasing dreams bigger than the sky itself, working nights that bleed into mornings, building companies that could change the course of humanity's future. You're not just grinding, you're rewriting what's possible. And then, in a moment that feels like it could define your personal universe, you get down on one knee, heart pounding, and ask the woman you love to spend her life with you. You're not just offering a ring, you're offering your entire world. And she says no, not because she doesn't love you, but because you're a billionaire. Yeah, you heard that right, a billionaire. The very thing you've poured your soul into achieving becomes the reason you're rejected. That's what happened to me. And let me tell you, it hit like a rocket crash landing at 17,000 miles per hour. I'm Elon Musk, and I've built my life on defying the odds, whether it's launching rockets to Mars or electrifying the roads with Tesla. But this was a different kind of failure. It wasn't a prototype blowing up on the launch pad or a funding round falling through. This was personal. This was about love, trust, and the kind of human connection that no amount of money or ambition can buy. When she said no, it wasn't just a rejection of me, it was a rejection of everything I'd become. And the reason? She thought being a billionaire meant I'd be unfaithful, distracted, or too consumed by my own world to care about hers. It was a gut punch, a moment that made me question not just love, but the very meaning of success. Let's rewind for a second. I'm not here to throw shade or dwell on the drama. I'm here to share a story that's bigger than me, bigger than her, bigger than any one moment. This is about what it means to be seen for who you really are, not the labels the world slaps on you. I've spent my life trying to break free from Earth's gravity, literally and figuratively, but in that moment, I realized there's another kind of gravity, the weight of people's assumptions. And for women out there listening, I know you feel this too. You've been judged, misunderstood, or boxed in to someone else's idea of who you're supposed to be. Maybe you've hesitated to trust, to love, to leap because the world told you to be cautious. I get it. Her rejection wasn't just about me, it was about her fears, her doubts, and the stories we all tell ourselves about what success looks like. When I think back to that moment, it's not the no that stings the most, it's the why. She didn't see the guy who stayed up until 3 a.m., debugging code at PayPal, or slept on a couch at SpaceX to keep the dream alive. She didn't see the guy who believes love is as audacious as colonizing Mars. She saw a billionaire, a caricature, a stereotype, a guy she thought couldn't possibly be real with her. And that's what I want to talk about today. Not just my story, but yours. Because whether you're chasing a career, a relationship, or a dream bigger than anyone else can imagine, you've probably faced that same kind of judgment. You've been told you're too much, too little, too ambitious, too soft, and maybe, just maybe, you've let those judgments stop you from taking a chance on something or someone that could change your life. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Being rejected because of my success hurt. It made me question everything. Why does success, the thing we're all told to chase, sometimes feel like a curse? Why does it build walls instead of bridges? I've spent my life solving problems, orbital mechanics, battery efficiency, reusable rockets, but this was a problem I couldn't engineer my way out of, and yet it's one of the most human problems there is. We all want to be seen, to be loved, to be understood for who we are, not what we've achieved or what we represent. For me, being a billionaire wasn't the goal. It was a byproduct of chasing what I believe in. But to her, it was a red flag, a warning sign that I might not be the partner she could trust. Ladies, I know this resonates with you. How many times have you held back because you were afraid of being hurt? How many times have you looked at someone, whether it's a partner, a boss, or even yourself, and let fear whisper, this might not be safe? I'm not saying her fear was wrong. Fear is real, it's human. But what I've learned through rocket failures, business near misses, and yes, even this rejection, is that fear is the one thing that can keep you from the stars. Not gravity, not physics, not even $1 billion. Fear. And when she said no, it wasn't just about me being a billionaire, it was about her fear of what that might mean. And I get it, being with someone who's always in the spotlight, who's always pushing the limits, isn't easy. But here's the kicker. I wasn't asking her to join my spotlight. I was asking her to join my mission, my heart, my life. Let me be clear. I'm not here to tell you I'm perfect. Far from it. I'm the guy who forgets to eat because I'm too busy thinking about interplanetary travel. I'm the guy who's made mistakes, taken risks that didn't pay off, and learned the hard way that failure is just data for the next try. But I'm also the guy who believes in love as fiercely as I believe in making humanity multiplanetary. And when that ring stayed in my pocket, When her no echoed in my head, I had to face a truth that's bigger than any rocket I've ever built. Sometimes the hardest thing to overcome isn't the world's skepticism, it's the skepticism of the people closest to you. So, why am I telling you this? Because this isn't just about a proposal gone wrong. This is about what it means to live boldly, to love boldly, to chase what matters, even when the world doesn't get it. For every woman out there who's ever doubted herself, who's ever wondered if she's enough, or too much, or not the right fit, hear me out. You are enough. Your dreams, your fears, your heart, they're all part of the incredible, messy, beautiful equation that makes you who you are. And when someone doesn't see that, when they judge you by their own fears or assumptions, that's not on you. That's on them. But here's the hard part. You can't let their fears become yours. You can't let their no stop you from saying yes to your own life. I've spent my career asking, what's the next frontier? For SpaceX, it's Mars. For Tesla, it's sustainable energy. For me personally, it's finding someone who sees the real me, not the headlines, not the bank account, but the guy who's still crazy enough to believe we can change the world. And when she said no, it wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a new one. A story about resilience, about refusing to let someone else's doubts define you, about keeping your eyes on the stars even when your heart's taken a hit, because that's what I do. I don't quit. I don't give up. And I'm here to tell you, especially you women out there who are listening, who are dreaming, who are loving or afraid to love, don't give up either. This moment, this rejection, it wasn't just a personal failure, it was a wake up call. It made me realize that success isn't just about building rockets or companies, it's about building trust, connection, and a life that's true to who you are. And for all of you out there, especially the women who've ever felt like you had to choose between your heart and your fears, I want you to know you don't have to choose. You can be afraid and still take the leap. You can be cautious and still love with everything you've got. You can be you unapologetically, fiercely, fully you, and that's enough to change the world. So here's my question to you. What's stopping you? What's the no you're afraid of hearing? Is it from someone else or is it from yourself? Because I've learned this much. The only thing worse than hearing no is never asking the question. And I'm not done asking. I'm not done dreaming. I'm not done loving. And neither should you be. Let's keep pushing, keep risking, keep believing, because the universe is too big, too wild, too beautiful to let fear win. Let's get one thing straight. I don't blame her. Not for a second. When she looked at me and saw a billionaire, she didn't just see me, she saw a story. A story the world loves to tell about people with wealth. They're cold, they're distant, they're unfaithful, they're too busy chasing power to care about love. She was afraid, and I get it. Fear isn't just a feeling, it's a signal, a warning light flashing in your brain telling you to protect yourself. And when you're standing across from someone whose life is splashed across headlines, whose every move is scrutinized, that warning light can burn brighter than a supernova. But here's the thing about fear. It's a lousy storyteller. It fills in the blanks with assumptions, not truth. And her fear, her decision to say no, wasn't about me. It was about a version of me she'd been taught to expect, a version that doesn't exist. I'm Elon Musk, and I've spent my life dismantling assumptions about what's possible, about what humanity can achieve, about how far we can push the boundaries of this tiny blue planet. But this was a different kind of assumption, one I couldn't fix with a new rocket design or a better battery. This was about the human heart, and let me tell you, that's a frontier even I haven't fully figured out. When she said no, she wasn't rejecting the guy who spent years scraping by, eating dollar store pasta to keep a startup alive. She wasn't rejecting the guy who nearly lost everything when SpaceX's first three rockets blew up. She was rejecting an idea, a billionaire stereotype that's as old as money itself. And for all the women out there listening, I know you felt this too. You've been on the other side of assumptions, judged for your ambition, your choices, or even just for being you. You know what it's like to have the world tell you who you're supposed to be. Let's talk about her fear for a moment. She looked at me and saw wealth, and wealth to her meant trouble. Maybe she pictured late nights at the office, endless travel, or a guy too distracted by boardrooms to notice her. Maybe she imagined a life where love takes a back seat to ambition, where promises get buried under piles of stock options. Or maybe, and this one stings, she thought I'd be the kind of guy who'd stray, who'd let fame and fortune turn me into someone who forgets what really matters. I can't read her mind, but I can guess, because I've seen that look before. It's the look of someone who's been burned by the world's stories, who's learned to guard their heart against disappointment. And ladies, I know you've been there. You've hesitated to trust, to open up, because you've seen how the world can let you down. You've wondered if the person in front of you is real or just another illusion. But here's where the story gets interesting. I'm not that guy. I'm not the caricature she feared. My life isn't a string of private jets and champagne parties. It's late nights in a factory, sketching rocket designs on napkins, and arguing with engineers about how to shave a few pounds off a payload. My wealth, it's a tool, not a personality. It's what lets me build Tesla cars that don't choke the planet, or SpaceX rockets that might one day get us to Mars. But it's not who I am. Who I am is the guy who believes in big dreams, who thinks love is as epic as a mission to another planet, who wants a partner to share the chaos and the triumphs. And when she said no, it wasn't just a rejection of me, it was a rejection of the truth about who I am. That's what hurt. Not the no, but the fact that she didn't see me. Now, I could have gotten mad. I could have walked away thinking she was wrong, shallow, or unfair, but I didn't because I've learned something from building companies that almost didn't make it. And judgment doesn't solve problems, understanding does. So I started thinking about why she felt the way she did. Why does wealth scare people? Why does success, something we're all told to chase, sometimes feel like a wedge between us and the people we care about? It's not just about money, it's about what money represents in our heads. For her, it was a signal of risk, of a life too big, too unpredictable. And I get it. When you're with someone who's trying to change the world, it's not just a relationship, it's a roller coaster. But isn't that what makes life worth living? The unpredictability, the challenge, the chance to build something real together? For the women listening, I want you to think about this. How many times have you let fear write the story for you? Maybe it wasn't about a billionaire, but about a job you didn't take, a dream you didn't chase, a person you didn't let in. Fear is sneaky. It dresses up as caution, as wisdom, as playing it safe. But it's not safe. It's a trap. It keeps you from the life you could have, the love you could feel, the person you could become. Her fear wasn't just about me, it was about what she thought my world would do to her. And I'm not saying she was wrong to feel that way. I'm saying she let that fear make the decision for her. And that's the real tragedy, not that she said no, but that she didn't give herself a chance to say yes. Let me take you behind the curtain of my life for a second. People see the headlines, the net worth, the crazy ideas about colonizing Mars, but what they don't see is the grind. When I started SpaceX, I was sleeping on a cot in the office, showering at the YMCA, pouring every dollar I had into a dream everyone said was impossible. When Tesla was on the brink, I was begging investors not to pull the plug, working 100-hour weeks to keep the lights on. That's not the life of a playboy billionaire. That's the life of a guy who believes in something bigger than himself. And when I asked her to be part of that life, I wasn't asking her to live in my shadow. I was asking her to stand beside me, to be my partner in a mission that's about more than money. It's about meaning. Ladies, you know this feeling. You know what it's like to want a partner who sees you, not just your achievements or your fears. You want someone who gets the fire in your soul, the dreams that keep you up at night, the person you are when the world isn't watching. And I know you've faced your own versions of her fear. Maybe you've worried that someone's too good to be true, or that loving them means risking too much. But here's what I've learned from rockets, from cars, from failures that nearly broke me. The biggest risks bring the biggest rewards. Not in dollars, but in truth, in connection, in the kind of love that doesn't just survive, it thrives. Her fear wasn't unique. It's the same fear that makes people doubt dreamers, that makes them question anyone who dares to live differently. And I'm not saying I'm easy to love. I'm intense. I'm obsessed with solving problems, with pushing limits, with making the impossible real. But that's exactly why I wanted her in my life, because I believe love is part of that equation. It's not a distraction, it's fuel. And when she walked away, it wasn't just a loss for me, it was a loss for what we could have built together. A partnership, a story, a life. So here's my challenge to you, especially the women out there. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let the world's assumptions about success, about ambition, about love define what you choose. You're stronger than that. You're braver than that. You've got dreams, passions, a heart that deserves to be seen. And when you find someone who wants to share that with you, whether they're a billionaire or a barista, don't let fear say no before you've had a chance to say yes. Because life, like a rocket launch, is about taking the risk, trusting the process, and aiming for the stars even when you're not sure you'll make it. All right, let's cut through the noise. You've heard her side, or at least the fear that drove her to say no. Now it's time to set the record straight about who I am. Not the headlines, not the bank accounts, not the guy the world thinks it knows. I'm Elon Musk, and I'm not here to sell you on some polished version of myself. I'm here to tell you the truth. My life isn't about money. It's about passion, purpose, and a relentless drive to make things better for you, for me, for humanity, for the future. When she turned down my proposal, she didn't just miss out on a ring or a life with a billionaire. She missed out on the real me, the guy who spent his life betting everything on dreams that most people call crazy. And ladies, this is for you. I want you to know what it means to live for something bigger than yourself, because I know you've got that fire in you too. Let's start with a reality check. Being a billionaire sounds glamorous, right? Private jets, fancy dinners, a mansion on every continent. Except that's not my life. My life is sleeping on a factory floor when Tesla's production line is choking. It's staring at a whiteboard at 2 a.m., trying to figure out why a rocket exploded 30 seconds after launch. It's pouring every dollar I had into SpaceX when everyone said I was throwing my money into a black hole. I didn't build companies to get rich, I built them to solve problems. Tesla isn't about luxury cars, it's about keeping this planet livable. SpaceX isn't about ego, it's about making sure humanity doesn't go extinct on one fragile rock. Neuralink? Brain chips sound wild, but they're about giving people a shot at a better life. That's who I am, a guy who wakes up every day asking, how do we make the impossible real? When I asked her to marry me, I wasn't offering her a bank account. I was offering her a front row seat to a mission, a life of chasing things that matter. I wanted her to be my partner, not in some Hollywood fantasy, but in the gritty, exhilarating, sometimes exhausting work of building a future. I wanted someone to share the moments when a rocket lands perfectly after everyone said it couldn't be done, or when a Tesla rolls off the line and you know it's going to change how people move. But she didn't see that. She saw the word billionaire and assumed it meant a guy who's too busy, too distracted, too detached to love deeply. And that's where the disconnect happened. She didn't see the guy who believes love is as big a mission as going to Mars. Ladies, I know you get this. You've got your own dreams, your own battles, your own reasons for getting up every morning. Maybe you're building a career, raising a family, or fighting for something no one else believes in. You know what it's like to pour your heart into something and still feel like people don't see the real you. Maybe they see your job title, your responsibilities, or the expectations they've piled on you, but not the fire that drives you. And when it comes to love, you want someone who gets it, who sees the woman behind the hustle, the heart behind the ambition. That's what I wanted to. I didn't want a trophy. I wanted a teammate, someone who'd jump into the chaos with me and say, let's make this work. Let me take you back to the early days of SpaceX. We were broke. Like, sell my car to pay the team broke. I was living off loans, eating cheap takeout, and working 100-hour weeks to keep the dream alive. People called me insane, said I was throwing away millions on a pipe dream, but I didn't care. Because it wasn't about money. It was about proving we could break free from Earth's limits. When our first 3 rockets failed, I didn't see failure. I saw data. Each explosion taught us something, got us closer to success. And when we finally landed that 4th rocket, it wasn't just a win for SpaceX, it was a win for everyone who ever believed in something bigger than themselves. That's the guy I wanted her to see. Not a billionaire, but a dreamer who doesn't quit. Now, I'm not saying I'm easy to live with. I'm intense. I get lost in my head thinking about battery chemistry or orbital trajectories. I've been known to miss a dinner or two because I'm arguing with an engineer about a design flaw. But that's not because I don't care. It's because I care too much. I care about the future, about the world we're leaving behind, about the people I love. And when I asked her to be my partner, I wasn't asking her to compete with my work. I was asking her to be part of it, to share the highs and lows, to build something together that's bigger than both of us. Love, to me, isn't a side project, it's a mission. It's about finding someone who's as all in as you are, who's ready to take on the universe with you. For the women out there, I want you to hear this. Your passion, your drive, your heart, they're not liabilities. They're your strength. The world might try to box you in, tell you to tone it down, to be less ambitious, less intense, but don't listen. The right person won't just tolerate your fire, they'll fuel it. They'll see the real you, not the assumptions, not the stereotypes. And when you find that person, don't let fear hold you back. Don't let the world's stories about what success looks like or what love should be stop you from building the life you want. Because I've learned this, the people who change the world aren't the ones who play it safe. They're the ones who go all in, who risk everything for what they believe in, whether it's a company, a cause, or a relationship. When she said no, it wasn't just a rejection of me, it was a rejection of the truth about what drives me. And that's okay. Not everyone's ready for a life that's more rocket launch than quiet Sunday brunch. But I'm not going to stop being who I am. I'm not going to stop chasing the things that set my soul on fire. And I'm not going to stop believing in love because love is just as audacious as any mission I've ever taken on. It's messy, it's hard, it's unpredictable, but it's worth it. Just like building a rocket, you don't get it right the first time. You learn, you iterate, you keep going. So, ladies, let me ask you something. What's the truth about you? What's the fire that burns inside you, the thing you're afraid to let the world see? Maybe it's a dream you've buried, a goal you've been told is too big, or a love you're scared to chase. Whatever it is, don't hide it. Don't let someone else's assumptions about you, about success, about what's possible define your story. You're not just a job, a role, or a label. You're a force, a dreamer, a woman who can change the world in your own way. And when you find someone who sees that, who wants to join you on that journey, don't let fear tell you they're not real. Because I'm here to tell you, the real ones, the dreamers, the builders, we're out there, and we're looking for someone who's ready to take on the universe with us. This rejection didn't break me. It reminded me who I am. It reminded me that passion isn't just about work, it's about how you live, how you love, how you show up every day. And for every woman listening, I want you to know your passion is your power. Don't dim it for anyone, not for the world, not for fear, not for someone who can't see the real you, because the truth about you is worth fighting for. And trust me, it's worth loving for. Let's talk about what happens when someone says no to you, not just in love, but in life. It's not the end. It's a pivot point. It's a moment that forces you to look in the mirror and ask, who am I really? And what am I going to do about it? When she turned down my proposal because I was a billionaire, it wasn't just a rejection of me, it was a wake-up call. It made me realize that the world's assumptions about wealth, success, or even love can be a prison if you let them define you. But here's the thing, I don't do prisons. I build rockets to break free from gravity, and I've spent my life breaking free from other people's expectations. That rejection, it didn't stop me, it taught me. And ladies, I'm here to share that lesson with you. Fear is the real enemy, not rejection. Fear is what keeps you from your dreams, your love, your life. And the only way to beat it is to face it head on. I'm Elon Musk, and if there's one thing I've learned from building SpaceX, Tesla, and every other crazy idea I've chased, it's that failure is just the universe testing your resolve. When she said no, it wasn't the first time I'd heard it. I've heard no from investors who thought reusable rockets were a pipe dream. I've heard no from critics who said electric cars would never compete with gas. I've heard no from my own doubts, whispering in the dark when I was down to my last dollar and SpaceX was one explosion away from bankruptcy. But every no taught me something. It taught me to keep going, to dig deeper, to find the truth behind the failure. And this rejection, it taught me that the biggest obstacle isn't someone else's fear, it's letting that fear creep into your own heart. Let's go back to 2008. SpaceX was on its knees, we'd launched 3 rockets, and all 3 had failed. I'd poured everything I had, my money, my time, my sanity, into a company that was supposed to make space travel affordable. Everyone said it was over. Investors were pulling out. The media was writing our obituary, and I was staring at a bank account that was dangerously close to zero. But I didn't quit. I scraped together every penny I could, rallied the team, and we launched that 4th rocket. And when it reached orbit, when it worked, it wasn't just a win for SpaceX, it was a win for every person who's ever been told their dream is too big. That's what rejection does. It forces you to decide who you are. Are you going to let it define you, or are you going to use it to fuel you? When she said no, it wasn't just about love, it was about life. Her fear, her assumptions about what it meant to be with a billionaire mirrored the same kind of doubts I've faced in every venture. People look at you and see what they expect, not what's real. They see the risks, not the possibilities. And for women listening, I know you've felt this. You've been told your ambitions are too big, your emotions are too much, your dreams are unrealistic. Maybe you've hesitated to take a chance on a career, a relationship, or even yourself because you were afraid of hearing no. But here's the truth. No isn't the end. It's the beginning of something new. It's the universe saying, okay, show me what you're made of. What I learned from her rejection was this. You can't control what other people think of you. You can't make them see past their fears or assumptions, but you can control how you respond. For me, that meant doubling down on who I am. I didn't stop being a dreamer, a builder, a guy who believes in love as fiercely as I believe in getting to Mars. I didn't let her no make me question my worth. Instead, I used it to remind myself why I do what I do. I'm not here to fit into someone else's story. I'm here to write my own. And that's what I want for you, especially the women out there. Don't let someone else's fear, or even your own, rewrite your story. You're the author, the architect, the one who decides what comes next. Ladies, let's talk about fear for a second. I know it's real. I know it's heavy. You've felt it when you've stood at a crossroads, whether it's a job you're scared to take, a relationship you're afraid to risk, or a dream you're worried will fail. Fear tells you to play it safe, to stay small, to avoid the pain of rejection. But here's what I've learned from every failure, every no, every rocket that didn't make it. Fear is a liar. It tells you you're not enough, that you'll get hurt, that you're better off staying where you are. But staying still isn't safety, it's stagnation. It's giving up on the life you could have. And you incredible women, you're not made for stagnation. You're made for motion, for growth, for chasing what sets your soul on fire. Think about it. Every time I faced a no, it's pushed me to be better. When SpaceX's rockets kept failing, I didn't shut down the company I learned. I studied the data, tweaked the designs, and kept pushing. When Tesla was bleeding cash, I didn't walk away, I found a way to make it work. And when she said no, I didn't stop believing in love. I started asking myself how I could be clearer about who I am. That's what rejection does. It's a mirror. It shows you where you're at, and it dares you to keep going. For you, maybe that's a career move you're scared to make, a conversation you're avoiding, or a dream you've buried because someone told you it was impossible. Whatever it is, don't let fear win. Use it, let it sharpen you, fuel you, push you toward the life you want. For the women listening, I want you to know something. Your fears are valid, but they're not the boss of you. You've got a heart that's big enough to love fiercely, a mind that's sharp enough to solve problems, and a spirit that's strong enough to take on the world. Don't let someone else's doubts or your own hold you back. When I think about her rejection, I don't feel anger or regret. I feel gratitude. Because it taught me to keep being me, unapologetically. It taught me that the right person, the right opportunity, the right dream, they'll see you for who you are. And when they do, it's worth every no you heard along the way. Here's my challenge to you. Face your fear. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. What's the one thing you've been avoiding because you're scared of failing, of being hurt, of hearing no? Maybe it's asking for that promotion, starting that business, or telling someone you love them. Whatever it is, take the first step. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Because I've learned this, the only thing worse than rejection is never trying. Every rocket I've launched, every car I've built, every dream I've chased, it started with a moment when I decided to ignore the fear and go for it. And ladies, you've got that same power. You've got the courage to say, this is my story, and I'm not letting fear write the ending. This rejection didn't stop me. It made me stronger. It reminded me that life isn't about avoiding no. It's about what you do after you hear it. For me, it's meant keeping my eyes on the stars, whether that's building a rocket or finding a love that's as real as my dreams. And for you, it's about taking that next step, whatever it is. You're not just a woman, you're a force. You're a dreamer, a doer, a builder of your own future. So don't let fear tell you otherwise. Face it, fight it, and keep going. Because the life you want, the love you deserve, the dreams you're chasing, they're all waiting on the other side of that fear. Here we are at the end of this story, or maybe it's just the beginning. When she said no to my proposal, it wasn't the end of my journey. It was a spark, a moment that lit a fire under me to keep pushing, keep dreaming, keep loving with every ounce of who I am. I'm Elon Musk, and I built my life on going all in, whether it's launching a rocket to the edge of space or opening my heart to someone who might change my world. That rejection didn't stop me from believing in love, just like a failed launch didn't stop me from reaching for the stars. And ladies, this is my message to you. Don't let fear, doubt, or a single no stop you from living fully, loving fully, and chasing the life that sets your soul ablaze. You're not just here to exist, you're here to burn bright, to build, to create, to love with the kind of courage that changes everything. Let's get real for a moment. Life is messy. It's unpredictable, like a rocket launch in a storm. You can plan every detail, calculate every trajectory, but sometimes the wind shifts and you've got to adapt. When she walked away, it wasn't what I planned. I had this vision, a life together, a partnership where we tackle the chaos of my world side by side. But plans change, and that's not failure, it's life. What matters is what you do next. For me, it meant recommitting to who I am. I didn't stop building companies that push humanity forward. I didn't stop dreaming of a future where we're a multiplanetary species. And I didn't stop believing that love, real, raw, all in love, is worth fighting for. Because if I've learned anything from sending rockets to space or building cars that run on sunlight, it's this. The things worth having are the ones you're willing to risk everything for. Ladies, I know you feel this. You've had moments where life didn't go according to plan. Maybe a job fell through, a relationship ended, or a dream got put on hold. You felt the sting of rejection, the weight of doubt, the temptation to play it safe. But you're not built for safe. You're built for bold. You're the woman who gets up every day and fights for what matters, whether it's your career, your family, your art, or your heart. You're the one who keeps going even when the world tells you to slow down, to be less, to settle. And I'm here to tell you, don't settle. Not for a life that's smaller than your dreams, not for a love that doesn't match your fire. You deserve to live fully, to love fully, to be the woman who looks fear in the face and says, not today. Let me tell you about a moment that changed me. Years ago, when Tesla was on the verge of collapse, I had a choice: walk away or double down. Everyone told me to quit, friends, advisors, even my own gut sometimes, but I couldn't, because giving up on Tesla wasn't just giving up on a company, it was giving up on a vision of a world that doesn't choke on fossil fuels. So I poured everything I had into it, every dollar, every hour, every ounce of willpower. And when we pulled through, when the first Mo 1 DOS rolled off the line and people started driving cars that didn't need gas, it wasn't just a win for me. It was a win for everyone who believed in something bigger. That's what I want for you. That moment where you say, I'm not giving up, and you keep going, whether it's for a dream, a cause, or a love that's worth it. When I think about love, I don't think small, I think epic. I think about a partnership that's as ambitious as building a city on Mars. I want someone who's not afraid of the chaos, who's ready to jump in and say, let's make this work. And even though she said no, I haven't stopped looking for that. I haven't stopped believing that love is a mission, just like any other, a mission to build something real, something lasting, something that makes the world better. And ladies, you deserve that too. You deserve a love that sees your strength, your passion, your heart. You deserve a life where you don't have to dim your light to make someone else comfortable. You deserve to go all in, to take the risk, to love with the kind of courage that makes the universe take notice. So, here's my call to action. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect person, the perfect plan. Life doesn't work that way. It's not a straight line from A to B. It's a wild, winding road with detours and dead ends. But every step, every risk, every yes you say to yourself gets you closer to the life you're meant to live. For me, that means keep building, keep dreaming, keep loving. It means showing up every day, even after a no, and saying, I'm still here and I'm still me. And for you, it means embracing your own power. It means chasing the career that scares you, speaking the truth that's burning inside you, loving the person who sees you for who you are, not who the world wants you to be. Women, you are unstoppable. You're not just dreamers, you're doers. You're the ones who balance a million things at once, who fight for what you believe in, who love with a fierceness that could power a rocket. Don't let anyone, not a partner, not society, not even your own doubts, tell you otherwise. When I look back on that rejection, I don't see a loss. I see a reminder to keep being me, to keep pushing the limits, to keep believing in love and dreams and everything that makes life worth living. And I want you to have that too. I want you to look at every no in your life and see it for what it is, not a stop sign, but a challenge to keep going, to keep growing, to keep loving with everything you've got. Here's the truth. The universe is vast, chaotic, and beautiful. It's full of possibilities, but it doesn't hand them to you. You have to reach out and grab them. You have to be willing to fail, to fall, to hear no, and keep going anyway. That's what I've done with every rocket, every car, every crazy idea that's ever kept me up at night. And it's what I'm doing with love. I'm still out there, still searching, still believing that the right person is worth every risk, and you should too. Whether it's love, a career, or a dream that's bigger than you can imagine, go for it. Risk it. Love it. Live it. Because if you don't, you'll never know what could have been. So let me leave you with this. If you're not scared, you're not dreaming big enough. If you're not risking, you're not living fully. And if you're not loving with everything you've got, you're missing out on the greatest mission of all. I'm not done, not with my dreams, not with my heart, not with my fight to make the world better, and neither are you. So go out there, ladies, be fearless, be fierce, be you. Because the universe isn't just waiting for you to show up, it's waiting for you to shine. And trust me, when you do, you'll light up the stars.